So what's coming up for each of your characters in the upcoming episodes?
We have no idea. We don't even know what we're doing today. Well, we have one more episode to shoot. And
we don't know anything about that.
We don't know anything about that, but I'm not sure where you guys are with what you've seen with the show. But we've introduced Tim's father into the show and his brother. I think that show was aired, but his father returns, Bud, and we're shooting that episode right now. And it's a whole situation where Bud is starting to date, and it irks Tim to see somebody in his mother's place, and how does he handle that? And you guys, what's going on for you guys in this?
We get flat screen TVs. Oh yeah, we all get flat screen TVs in this episode. We're all really excited about it.
Yeah, just like in real life.
Does that shake up the dynamic at all when somebody joins the cast after you've already established yourself, your characters? I mean, I don't expect you to say for bad, but for good, does it shake up the dynamic?
It's less screen time for the rest of us, so we're not happy about it. But don't tell the brass that. It does shake up a little bit because you have a whole different energy, and I think it's especially hard for the person coming in because they have to somehow fit themselves into a rhythm that we've already established. And I commend them. We did an episode where my sister comes, and she was written with a whole different kind of neurotic energy than we normally have. So that was interesting to see how that was meshed into the show.
Was there a hazing process?
No, well, only in that we don't talk to anybody until they prove themselves. So we are very standoffish.
It's an obstacle course.
How close do you each feel to your characters now after only a year?
Well, we've had a long year because we did 24. So certainly closer than we would if we only did 13. Mm-hmm. But it's funny when you come in with certain expectations about your character, and then they write things, and you're like, oh, that was the opposite of what I thought. All right, I'll take it. So, and especially I always talk about how things change from when we did the pilot and how things sort of evolve. So but it's always funny when you read something and you're like, oh, that's a quirk I hadn't planned for. All right, I'll take it.
I find myself to be utterly different than Mandy in pretty much every way, except for when I went back home. My folks live in Pennsylvania, and I would go back for the Christmas break or something, and I did my hair up, or I had bright colors on. My younger brother was like, "Wow, it's really Mandy of you." I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" It's seeping into my brain somehow. But yeah,
I'm very different from my character actually, and I think it's becoming more. I think my character's become a little bit more girlier, which I'm glad about, because she was really in the pilot. She was really tomboyish, which I'm completely opposite of. So I think she's really starting to, get interested into boys, and I think we'll really see that in hopefully later episodes.
So what happened?
Kaitlyn is a glamour quest. She's a total fashion.
Yes.
Like rehearsal days, I mean, dressed to the nines.
Well, do you then ask when you're cast, what was it that made you think of me?
No,
she's a darn good actress.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Yeah.
So is Ben in that Ding Dong episode? Is Ben gonna come back then?
I have no idea. Hopefully he will. Yeah. We really don't know about any episodes that are coming up, but hopefully he will. Yes.
When do they tell you what's coming up on an episode? When do they spring it on you?
Literally the night before. We will, for example, we'll shoot this script. We don't even know we're shooting next week, so we'll shoot the script tomorrow night in front of a live audience, and then go home, and on our email will probably be the next day's script. So we'll
I'm doing a special feature. Can each of you tell me 3 of your favorite TV shows that you watch, and I need a sentence about why you like them.
Well, my favorite, these guys probably won't even know the shows that I loved. Just in now or growing up?
At least one now, and then some growing up with you.
Okay. Well, I have to say Bewitched. I love that show. And why? I just think it was magical, and Elizabeth Montgomery, idol of mine, amazing. What else did I watch? The Munsters, fantastical show. Zoom. I grew up in Massachusetts, so I don't know if you knew the new Zoom review. Anybody?
Coming back.
Yep.
And something
And
current?
something current, other than our own show and I honestly don't even get to watch those.
Downton
American
Abbey.
Idol. Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
We've all been watching Downton
Talk about
Abbey.
it all the time.
We've been obsessed with Downton Abbey.
Why?
Well, I love period things, and I think in my career I've always wanted to do a period piece and have never had the opportunity. But I just think it's so well done, that show, and it really takes you into this whole other world where you feel like you're seeing life in a different time, and it's very specific, and all the intrigue and the costumes. I love it.
Alexandra?
I grew up watching all of the old sitcoms on Nick at Night when I was a kid. Because I was in insomniac, so I couldn't sleep, and so I would just stay up and watch these old sitcoms. And so I loved Laverne and Shirley. It was my favorite when I was a kid because I loved the girls, and I loved that they were. I loved all the characters most of all, but I loved their friendship, and I loved how physical they were. And in fact, I have 3 of the seasons on DVD and watch them all the time. And Mary Tyler Moore is my other favorite. And one of my favorite parts of Mary Tyler Moore is that she throws horrible parties and is constantly, everybody's nodding because everybody knows about her horrible parties where there's not enough food and she has to cut the chicken in half. And I loved all of that stuff, and I loved all of the characters, and I loved her, and I loved Rhoda, and I also loved Rhoda. And then currently, it would have to be, I think, Mad Men. However, I am really far behind, so nobody's allowed to say anything about it because I'm really far behind and I'm watching it on Netflix. So nobody say anything. But what I like about it is I love this style, and I love how sexy it is, and I love the clothes and the makeup and all of the intrigue. I love it. It's just delicious. It's awesome.
I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I like to watch Modern Family in the middle with my family because it's just, I like it because it's like really real, and it seems like a real family and what their daily lives about. And then also, I've watched up to season 7. I did like a whole Office marathon of just like Netflix episode after episode. I love that show. I love Steve Carell. He's amazing.
I enjoyed watching Homeland. I loved Claire Danes' character. I thought that was a really exciting female character, and just like totally interesting and self-possessed and multifaceted. So I really enjoyed watching that. I've been watching Breaking Bad on Netflix on my iPad. I had to stop myself from watching it during days when we were shooting because the dynamic of it is like so nail-biting that it would take me out of my Mandy world completely, and I would come back down and be sweating profusely, and be like, oh my god, I can't believe that. So I had to cut myself off from that. But Breaking Bad is fabulous, and 30 Rock, I love. It can make me laugh constantly, every week.
Thank you, ladies.
Do you 3 girls find that on set you're getting mothered a little bit by Nancy or fathered a little bit by Tim, or is it completely different?
Well, I'm in the process of buying my first car. I moved out here from New York. And Tim, as you may or may not know, is the car guy. So when I was saying something sort of offhand to someone who said, you're going to go through me, right? You're going to talk to me about it. I was like, oh, I guess so. I mean, like, I hadn't really thought of that. And he has helped me tremendously. He was like giving me his 2 cents and setting me up with his buddies to talk about, what sort of options and safety features or whatever I should look at. So, yes, it's my dad away from dad.
And I'm sorry.
You go.
No, you go.
No, you go. Wait,
You sure? Because you can go.
Okay.
You go.
Oh, okay. Tim helps me a lot with like comedic timing and everything. Like, never gotten that before. I haven't done like a lot of sitcoms before. Like, this is my first sitcom that I've actually done, and he just gives me a lot of advice. Like, I'll ask him about a line, how it should be delivered and everything, and he'll really put it into detail about how I should say it and how much time I should give it between each line. And also, I'm the older sister of my 2 younger sisters, so I feel like with Nancy, and she's like my second mom, and then these 2, they're always giving me advice, and I've never had older sisters before, so it's kind of like that.
And I will say that on more than one occasion, Nancy has cleaned schmutz off of my face, which is very motherly. And my mom has very, very curly hair, just like Nancy. So I feel it's like she reminds me of my mom. And then the cleaning of the schmutz off my face on more than one occasion.
They mother me, though, I have to say. It's actually in reverse, because I'm the person who doesn't understand the internet or games on apps. And,
we just introduced her to draw something.
She's
and
a
then play that. She's obsessed
and music,
now. I played with her this
what's
whole
happening.
weekend.
They're trying to make me happening.
You should have seen us on Friday. We were all sitting on the living room set. Each one of us had our iPad
horrifying.
or our phone. No one was talking to each other. We were just drawing things. We were
laughing and then laughing to ourselves, like,
what is so funny?
When you're cast with experienced actors that have been in the business a while, do you kind of steep yourself in their old work? Do you go back and look at Nancy's movies and Tim's stand-up? Or do you stay away from that completely because you're better off not knowing?
I haven't done much of either. I mean, I guess we have YouTube, so that's sort of a good point of reference. But I don't think that I look back at anything to sort of judge what it would be like to work with that person, because I enjoy working with them in the present, in this character.
I actually still I watch Hector and Tim, and I think there's an expertise that the two of them bring, especially to this medium, that is actually it's very difficult to do, and it may seem that it's just easy, but they bring a certain relaxation and underplaying and a timing to it, and they rapport together, and it's very interesting for me to watch. I actually learn from them.
Yeah, and part of the experience of learning is just watching people on set and absorbing their process when you're on set, watching them and watching their timing and watching how they deliver lines. That's like, to me, that's the biggest learning experience, because it's right there. You know, it's like a master class, because you're sitting right there and you're watching somebody do exactly what it is that they're fabulous at. And so that, to me, that's the most learning for me.
I don't necessarily look back at like Nancy's work or Tim's work. I've seen a couple of like home improvement episodes, but I never really looked at that and said, okay, I wonder what he'd really like to work with. But I just, exactly what Alex said, I learn a lot from like being with them, and people ask me if I get a lot of advice, like specific advice from like Nancy. I just get like the vibe of working with them.
Nancy, you mentioned that Tim and Hector, they bring a certain expertise to the medium. But in your experience, from the moment you got into TV to now, like how do you feel sitcoms have evolved?
I think there is more of a drive or a push to be as real as possible, and still tell a story in 20 minutes, and have it be relatable. But really, it's about reality and specificity and believability, and not making a show that's just traveling from one joke to the next. What is the story? At least that's what we try to do on this show. We're trying to tell a story in the short amount of time that we have, and be true to what the experiences are of these characters in this family. And Tim especially spends a lot of time dissecting the script and saying, well, this doesn't make sense, and this wouldn't happen, and this, you can't just shortchange this for the sake of convenience. We have to explore this. And it really is, we spend a lot of time getting a grounding and a threshold before we throw jokes on top of it.
Mm-hmm. We just saw the episode with the Shakespeare play, and what was it like to improvise Shakespeare?
Well, it was fake improvisation. If I was improvising, it would be also really interesting. It was fun, and I come from a background of theater, so I felt even nervous being there, knowing my lines and forgetting my lines, but like being in that position still sort of made me nauseous, because I've definitely been on stage and just gone up on lines and been like, no one can help me. I'm in the middle of a monologue and no one can save me, and I just have to like sort of fumble my way through and get out of there.
Do you get to do any improvisation in the show, or is it all scripted?
I would say from time to time there's a little bit that gets added.
I zhuzh all my lines.
Sure.
Everything.
You do a lot of zhuzhing.
I zhuzh a lot. I
Nancy
a little this, a little that. And Tim, of course, you just really never know what's going to come out of his mouth. You just never know.
You never know.
Yeah, there's always when you have a line after his, and you know he's gonna say, you're like just waiting for a pause. When am I gonna say my line? Waiting, and then there's that like long pause. You're like, all right, and then he says something else. You're like, all right, never mind.
Or he'll say, he's very generous too. He'll say something and it'll be really funny. And he'll say, the scene will work out in such a way, he'll say, all right, you say that funny line. That's okay, you say that. You give that, I'll give you that. We have to pay him a lot of money. It's worth it.
Makes you look good though.
Look good, yeah.
What do you... Alexandra, those little boys who played Boyd, they're so cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah, can you tell us about any experiences working with them?
Well, I can tell you stop laughing. I can tell you that they are not light, and they are very heavy, and they do not send you to baby training. I don't know anything about babies, and they do not send you to baby training before doing a job in which you are interacting with babies. So, and I will tell you this, I have played a mom maybe 4 times. This is a horrifying thing that's happened. I don't know whose idea it was, but I've been cast as a mother too many times. It's horrifying.
I'm a grandmother, so shut up.
I'm not saying it's horrifying because of my age. I'm saying it's horrifying because I don't know what to do around babies. So they don't. It's true that everybody can say that. It's like I see a baby and I'm like, how old are you? Are you going to college? Like I don't know anything about them.
She's figured out something where you ask them where the belly is.
Yeah, where's your belly? That's the game.
She asks them that all the time, and it keeps them occupied.
Yeah, it's where's your belly, and then you point to different parts. So like, is this your belly? No. Okay, well, is this your belly? No. And then when you find their belly, and then they laugh and laugh and laugh, you're like, well, can I eat it? And then they're like, no. And so that game is really good. There's a game a horsey game is also or a roller coaster, either one. But I have a very limited knowledge, but what I can tell you is that they weigh approximately 35 pounds.
If you have a show, you can have them. We're trying to get rid of them. Too hard. Too hard.
There was a
Very
diaper
hard.
leakage.
Oh yes, I did.
I couldn't help but laugh. One of them had a leaky diaper, and I was just like, no! Like in slow motion.
And it was a beautiful dress. I think it was a Free People dress, and it was so beautiful. And I was like, and Dina's a wardrobe designer. I'm like, Dina, help! And it's not. You can't be like, baby, because they're really expensive. So you can't just throw them around. But the thing is, they are so cute that they're unbearably cute. And by unbearable, I mean it's because they're so heavy that you're just like, God, you're cute, but where can I put you down?
What are you each planning to do for your hiatus?
Me? I'm going back to visit my folks in Pennsylvania, my friends in New York, do a little bit of traveling, maybe take my mom on a little vacation because she works too hard, and I don't know, then I'll be back here exploring California with a new car, hopefully. So if you see someone driving really slowly,
with their blinkers on.
With the blinkers on, it's me. I do like to work constantly. I love doing a lot of work. So me and my manager have just been discussing there's been a lot of movies out for 14 to 15-year-old girls. So I've been just discussing about what I should be doing, what movies I should be doing on my hiatus, and if not, then I'll just relax with my family.
I'm gonna go to Hawaii, which is very exciting, and then move apartments, which is horrible. It's the worst. So that's part of what the summer plan is to move apartments, and it's just the worst. Living in boxes and not knowing where any of your stuff is going to be awful. But then it'll be great because it'll be a nice new place. But that's more or less, and then relax in between the fabulous vacation and the horrors of moving.
I'm going to try and get in on those 14 to 15-year-olds. Doing my hair up. And just travel with my family, and hopefully be back here in August.
What type of traveling do you guys like to do? You mentioned traveling, and it sounds like it's important.
I love to travel. Yeah, I do. We're at a point in our family where my sons like to be with us, so we're trying to capitalize on that as much as possible. But this summer we'll go to Israel and a little bit of Europe, and we're trying to do the big trips while I have income and the kids want to be with us.
Nancy, you played some really sexy roles in your younger days. How did you make the transition to mom and grandmother? Was it a hard thing? Because I think you talked about it, but I do remember
Yes. You know, I don't even know that I make the transition. I think it's dictated to me based on what I'm offered and what I get hired to do. But I think they're all facets of who I am, and you know, the sexy roles are still in my range, but this is where I am right now. So it's all, you just sort of, hopefully you're open to play anything.
So with the title of the show being Last Man Standing, if there was an event
Spin-off?
and there was only just one Last Man Standing, fictional or real, which one would you want?
One last man standing.
One last man
Really?
standing. That's all there is.
Really?
Want, or who would it be?
Who would you want?
One last man standing.
It's gonna be those twins. It's gonna be those twin boys.
I will not be happy till they're all down.
What about you?
I'm telling you, it's gonna be those twin boys.
It can only be one.
Well, then they will have to fight to the death. It will be one of them. Because at 2.5, they're 50,000 pounds. So I swear it's going to be one of those babies, and they will fight to the death, and it'll be one of those.
Okay. What about you?
On the show, like
Fictional or real, whatever.
I'm not sure. I mean, one last man standing.
One last man standing.
So your dad.
Were you dad?
That was a good answer.
Tim Dever.
Tim Dever, the last man standing. I don't know. My first reaction was like, if we had Steve Jobs back, I would want Steve Jobs
That would
to
be
be
him.
the guy. We don't, unfortunately. Like, I feel like he had the vision. If everything else went down around us, the beautiful was out. So maybe the next Steve Jobs, whoever the next Steve Jobs is.
It's
we
one
need
of
that
the
person.
babies, I'm telling you.